Jupiter at Night is presented live. Jupiter at Night is presented live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
I'm John.
I'm Jeremy.
Well, hello there, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hello. We haven't done the looking towards the weekend thing for a little while, and it is Thursday night. That's Jupiter at Night's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the thing I'm probably looking forward to the most this weekend is the new Thor movie.
You just want to stare deeply into those dreamy eyes, don't you?
Look at him, though.
Into Captain Kirk's father's eyes.
Right.
Actually, this picture, along with many of the other pictures, is one of the few things that's setting off red alarms in my head, but I'll save that.
Okay.
But
well, let's set off a few other red alarms. I mean, we're already getting some reviews in from like sites like Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic.
Yeah.
Good red alarms, though.
Yeah, these aren't bad.
Yeah.
Actually, the Red Tomato, or Rotten Tomato is at an 83%. That's not bad, dude.
Now, granted,
not
it
bad at
doesn't
all.
actually come out till tomorrow, so these are all like
Early.
Pre-screened things, and you know, as
Based on 127 reviews.
when you see a movie early, I think you are a little bit more amped up for it, and you're
absolutely.
probably a little.
I was,
you
what
gotta have a
what
better
X-Men
review.
movie did you and I see?
We saw
One?
We saw two.
You sure? I think it might have been because the J-Man and I were just talking about how great X-Men 2 was compared to all of them, and I know whichever one you and I got.
It was two.
Too, that
It was
I was
two.
saying was
We
so
got
great.
we got like in the day before.
Yeah, I got a press pass from my college. Not a press pass. It was like a just early pre-screen thing.
Whatever it was like the
A sneak preview.
There's like a
Sneak
whole
preview.
nother energy level at those kinds of things.
Yeah.
People
absolutely.
are clapping.
Oh yeah. We were just giddy about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were happy anyway that we were going to see it, but then also when everyone's screaming, we were just like, yeah.
But you know,
oh,
you
yeah.
say that, but then you look over at Metacritic, and it's only getting 60 out of 100 right now. So
Okay, so the critics are not as kind.
now, yeah, those are professional reviews.
But the
right?
movie hasn't been released yet. That's not all the critics. That's just a limited number.
127 of them as far as Metacritic.
There have been enough favorable talks that there are already rumors flying about people getting ready for a sequel to this. That we could be seeing
Thor's.
Thor's. This time, Thorier.
Now, I gotta tell you. So, I don't really have any intention in seeing this in 3D, but I've been trying to dig this up before the show to get to nail it down. Is this being shot in 3D or is it being shot and being converted?
We actually watched some footage from like B-roll, behind the scenes sort of stuff.
We have
and
links down in the show notes.
Chris noticed that the camera they're using was not a 3D camera.
No,
It wasn't digital. They have to be digital.
right, and or at least, I mean, literally, you have to take a stereo picture. I mean, you have
The reason being is they have to start at the exact same time, so they have to get it
totally synced up.
Yeah.
And they have to have two of them, two lenses.
Yeah.
Or you run it through a post conversion process, which I think most people agree it just never really
It
turns out
doesn't
right.
last at a render.
Well, we've been getting some bad reviews of the 3D on this.
And what
Yeah.
I'm worried about is it looks like whatever process they are using for the Thor movie is also the same process they're using for the Captain America movie.
I think we'll get
Crud.
into more of the Avengers.
But
talk
it
a
doesn't
little
matter to
later
me
on.
because I'm not going to see it. I don't want to see it in 3D. Anymore.
I don't intend
really
to
care
see it in
anymore.
3D anyway. It kind of tends to make me a little nauseous. I hate the glasses. I hate sitting there for 2 hours wearing a set of glasses.
Yeah.
So yeah, but since I mentioned them, there's some links in the show notes to that 10 minutes of behind the scenes footage if you want to check that out.
It's in two parts. Now, the other thing, so that's the 3D aspect of it.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I'm kind of bracing myself for, you guys, is I look at a lot of stuff, a lot of the media images and things like that.
Yeah.
If you're watching the video version, I'm showing one of them in particular. Honestly, they set off these little like
It looks pretty campy.
it
doesn't
looks-
It does look a little campy.
Super
Anthony
camp.
Hopkins with the. I mean, does it have to be a gold eye patch?
It probably didn't have to be. He could have
No.
looked like just a regular old pirate.
Right.
I bet.
And
Right.
what's with Thor being
As
emo in the
Odin.
background with his buddy over here being emo in
That's
the background?
Loki.
That's Loki. He's kind of a mischief maker.
And emo fits him, but you're right. It's not exactly Thor's style.
And
Yeah.
it's not so much
But you know
not
what?
so much just that though, J-Man. You were telling me that along with the possible hokiness is some people might get their feathers in a little bit of a ruffle because you're switching from sort of a mythology roots to more of a sci-fi roots for Thor.
Well, now I had to do some research this up and make sure that I was correct, but my
People helped.
supposition was
Yeah.
already.
Thank you, Livestream.
thank you,
Yeah.
Livestream, for clearing this up for me. But I had always thought that Thor started as a mythological figure in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That he started as a god that had came
Right.
to Earth. In fact, at first he didn't know he was a god. Long story, but it was basically that he was found unworthy by his father and banished to Earth. But he was an actual god.
See, what I
Norse
think,
mythology god.
I haven't really read the comic books, but what I remember Brian actually telling me that, and this is what sounded cool to me, was that there was a lot of doubt whether he was a god or
if he was crazy.
Or if he was crazy.
Well,
and I
that's-
really like that idea.
that's
Just
the
like,
route
hey,
they
guess what? I got this power, but I'm kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
That's the route they started taking more recently.
Yeah.
And actually, Rikai in the chat room pointed out that as recent as like in 1995 or so, they just basically flipped over and said, Thor's an alien. The Asgards are from outer space. They have technology that makes it seem like magic.
Right.
Now, that's what they're doing with this movie. The reason that ruffles my feathers is because I have always looked at Thor as being a mythological figure, a god come to Earth that became a superhero. He had all these mystic roots.
Let's be honest, a lesser god.
Well, yes, obviously.
Okay, right.
I mean, he's no Jesus, right?
Honestly, I find Syfy as somebody who is I think the whole mythology aspect of Thor honestly has always sort of prevented me from engaging with the Thor comics and all of that kind of stuff. It's actually been a barrier for me, just because it's the same reason it's kind of a barrier for me on video games. You know, I am more prone to play a sci-fi video game because guns and technology make sense to me, whereas mythology just feels so, I don't know, it just feels so unreal.
A little hokey.
Okay.
And so I might be able to wrap my brain around a Thor movie that's more sci-fi based.
I agree. I actually agree, and I see your point. But here's the other thing: is that I was really hoping that they would go the mystical, mythological route with Thor, because doing so would potentially open the doors to things like...
For other things you wouldn't like.
Well, no, like Doctor Strange and the Mandarin. And
the Mandarin, and that could be important with...
even
Iron Man.
Even Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, is supposed to be some sort of magician in addition to being really smart.
Double
I
whammy.
guess what it means is, like, if you're going to bring in the Mandarin into Iron Man, you're going to have to come up with a sci-fi explanation there too.
Which I think they did in the recent comics. I don't read the Iron Man, but I heard that they're
But
using...
Doctor Strange, what about him?
No, they can't.
They can't with Doctor Strange. That's
So
the whole
if
thing.
you ever want to see Doctor Strange on film, who, I'll be honest, is kind of a badass in the comics, so that might be a good movie.
Well, he's got a gray streak
But
in
you
his
kind
hair.
of have to open the door to mystical superheroes, and no studio is doing that yet.
What did we see? We saw something like it was like mid 90s that they kind of started transitioning over to the Asgardians or aliens or Asgardians.
Right.
Or aliens.
Yeah.
So I mean that essentially is comic book canon now, and this is a Marvel Studios picture, and Marvel has been pretty good about, at least in the Iron Man movie, about sticking to a degree to the canon, and I think
95 was 16 years. We don't know what happened since then. Like, it's possible that they might have switched over since then.
Well, I'm just saying, if they established it that long ago at some point in the comics, I mean, Marvel's almost obligated to follow it.
Right.
And it's too confusing to switch it up on the viewer.
Well, and it also factors into the fact that current audience, if you're a current big fan of these things, then you're reading the current comics, which paint him as an alien.
That's my point, yeah.
Yeah, so they got to go with the newest ones. I mean,
Yeah.
If you go back to the original origins of it all, then you're going to confuse people.
Before we change gears, do you want to just mention one of the little interesting aspects you came across in your show prep? There is that Thor is actually a public domain.
I think that goes back to the fact that he's actually based heavily on a mythological figure, Norse mythology.
Yeah, he is. In fact, I was getting my geek on, dude, and I was reading up on some of the Norse mythology stuff and about
it's cool stuff, actually.
about their
He
super
takes
awesome
his
apples,
superpowers from the golden apples of Idun or something like that.
So because it's based on actual mythology, he's kind of just by default becomes a public domain.
Yeah,
I guess so. And you got to wonder where that came from.
You know what's
These are
really
some good apples.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel good. Get that hammer.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. No kidding, right?
But you know what's really interesting about that angle,
though, to have a superhero with public domain.
All mythology is public domain. Because of that, like
it's otherwise it's not mythology.
Right, you can use Aztec gods, Egyptian gods. If you want to write like your own stories. In fact, Syfy is releasing their own Thor movie.
If you want to write your own sci-fi without having to invent something yourself,
right?
Well, you're too lazy to think of something.
It's the
new.
perfect opportunity because if you never see Syfy doing a low budget or like as I like to call it, a low budge Iron Man movie. The weekend Iron Man 3 came out. That would just, but it's the same studio, it's the same production company, all that stuff, but they can't do it because it's public domain. Syfy can do a cheap, low budge.
I'm just gonna rattle off a few others that have been included in comics in the past, but are also public domain. We've got Robin Hood, King Arthur, Blackbeard. Some of the let's see, Baba Yaga, who is like a mythological sorceress. But there are also literary figures: Captain Nemo, Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, Dracula. These are all public domain. If you want to include them, look at Frankenstein with a gun there.
That's pretty cool.
That's
there are
necessary.
also Sherlock Holmes is public domain.
Oh yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Well,
why don't they make a new movie? Oh, they did.
Yeah.
What are they? Oh yeah.
But there are also in this. I'll include this link in our show notes as well. There are some actual like pretty lame, to be honest.
The fighting yank is back.
Fighting
yank with a Nazi bad guy in the background.
He's punching out a Nazi.
Oh my gosh.
So it even calls him right on the description of Captain America.
I would pay 10 cents today to get like a digital copy of that.
You don't have to.
You don't.
Because it's public domain.
Yeah, you can go get it. I know the links are in the show notes for that. So
yeah, great really stuff. Cool. There's it's just fun to think about.
Oh, that one's called Exciting Comic. That seems like a win right there.
Whoa.
Yeah. One of these in the comments though is hilarious because it's a picture of Jesus, of course. And yes, Jesus is public domain.
And looks like he's not so happy anymore.
Well, now it's time to get down to business.
Yeah, he's gonna bust some heads in.
Right.
And Jesus goes bold too. He's just wearing underwear.
Yeah, and a crown. Of course, crown of thorns.
He's ripped.
Yeah, Jesus is ripped, exactly. Now, how do you guys think this plays into the overall Avengers movie? Because this is one of the really sort of big things that, I mean, we've talked about since Cast-a-Blast years ago. If the Iron Man movies worked out and these Marvel Studio movies continue to do well, you kind of think the Thor movie has to be successful, and you also kind of think
it's kind of a turning point.
The Captain America movie has to be successful.
I think the cards already set. I think that they're still making enough money that the Avengers movie is going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say this doesn't do amazing here. It doesn't matter. It'll make their money back.
I don't
that's
know,
all
man.
they care about.
The stuff I'm looking at is it's setting off those warning bells, and the quality doesn't look that. I don't know. It could be Marvel's first.
Do you have
big
another
misstep.
picture of those costumes to put up real quick? Because I kind of want to talk about that.
Sure.
And the fact that
check out this one super high res picture we have.
Kenneth Branagh he's not who I would have thought would be doing a Thor movie, but I mean he's
known for his Shakespearean.
Yeah, but he's very well respected. Well, I mean Wild West.
Oh yeah, he was awesome in that. Really high quality film right there.
Are we screwed, you guys?
No, he's been in a lot of good stuff, though. He actually is a pretty well-respected actor.
All right, so tell me about these. You think they look a little hokey?
They look like plastic. That's my first problem.
Yeah, they're probably trying to play up the alien part.
Possibly.
So I mean, it
like
makes a little bit more sense to me.
uniforms?
Aliens like shiny metal breastplates and capes
that are very ornate.
Yes,
and
lots
gold.
of geometric figures and stuff like that.
The high res shots just. It's the lighting, maybe the way the lighting bounces off the, yesterday, you guys. Have you guys seen this? There is some of the first stills from the new Spider-Man movie are online now.
Oh no,
I have not seen that.
Yeah, and did you guys find in the first 3 Spider-Man movies that sometimes the reflective plasticiness of a suit almost made it always seem kind of CG?
Especially with the
even when it was real.
Yeah, but especially when it was 3G, right?
Yeah.
This looked like somebody painted on rubber latex. I mean, it was shiny.
Yeah.
The new suit. It was very shiny.
Really?
Very shiny, yeah.
Even worse than before.
Worse than before.
Okay.
And what was the number one complaint I had with the first Spider-Man suit? And
that it didn't look homegrown enough. It didn't look like he had actually just put on a pair of spandex pajamas.
Yeah, first of all, it didn't look like something that a teenager would make. And then it looked fake the whole time. And so it was like hard for me to, I don't know, be immersed because I just felt like it was...
I'm hesitant to say that the costumes in Thor look anything better than terrible, especially if when they move, if they bend. Like that was one of my biggest complaints with the Fantastic Four films is the fact that the Thing looked like he was covered in rubber instead of rock.
I don't know. I get over that pretty quick. Like I don't really care too much about that. Yeah, I don't care what they're wearing.
I don't care about I just care that it looks real.
Yeah. If it looks
I think the costumes are overly ornate. You're right. They're probably playing up the alien angle.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. But still, since I don't like that angle to begin with, why didn't they just put him in chainmail and leather, and call it good?
All right.
But
now, are we going to get the Douglas Adams version of Thor? Do you remember that one at all?
No.
Oh, that's great. Thor's a complete idiot in it. It's wonderful.
Public domain, so anybody out there can write their own Thor. It'd be great.
I guess going just my last thought on the whole Avengers thing is Thor isn't like a critical component to the Avengers. I mean, you could almost have the Avengers movies without Thor showing up.
Yeah.
So if it
guys, wait for me, guys.
Well, in a lot of the series, unless I'm wrong, man, I wasn't reading this, but I think he only showed up in the last few dozen comics of the Civil War. Like he was just gone for the whole arc until all of a sudden there's Thor.
Hey, I'm back, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, did anybody call Thor? He's got a hammer. Yeah.
We're having some problems, guys.
Yeah, let's bring him in. He's got a hammer.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess
the chat room does point out he was one of the founding members. That's true.
Yeah.
It's just it's always seemed like it was like Captain America and Iron Man doing their thing, and then they'd call in Thor when it was necessary.
I didn't mean to make it sound like Thor was an unnecessary component. What I mean by that is I think the general movie-going public would really they just want to see the core Marvel characters that are going to be out in theaters. And honestly, I think if Thor didn't show up in that group when those movies do hit, I don't think there's going to be a big backlash, except from guys like us.
Yeah.
And I think all three of us are going to at least make an attempt to go see it this weekend.
I'm going to try to. Yeah, I've already got plans for Friday.
And so it's like we have these concerns, but at the end of the day, it's a Thor movie. Mm-hmm. We're going to go see it.
The buzz is okay now, so it's probably not going to be horrible.
If you guys tune into next week's Tuesday, I'll go ahead and talk about it after on the post show.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So at least I'll give you a little bit of a live review then.
Thor does, Cheese and Bacon in the chat room says that Thor seems like it could be better than the Green Lantern, which is a comment you made.
Yeah. I think Green Lantern looks pretty horrible to me, actually.
But you were just asking how this is going to play out for the Avengers franchise as a whole. I think that even if this isn't entirely up to speed, the Captain America movie looks fantastic.
Yeah, that looks good.
And
that looks really good.
Now the buzz on that is that Hollywood is seriously talking about the second movie. Like you were saying they're already having him do the new Captain America uniform trials.
The star
for the second
movie. I forget
movie.
his name. The guy playing Captain America was recently just in an MTV interview where he said he's already done screen testing in his new outfit.
Pine, is that his name? No. Chris Pine's there.
Yeah.
It's Chris. I don't know. It's the guy from Fantastic Four.
It's
the Human Torch. Yeah.
Human Torch. That might be for the Avengers movie though, because his quote was just for the next movie.
Okay.
But. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised to hear them already talking sequels. I'm honestly, that movie looks fantastic.
It looks great.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, but I remember when the new Star Trek 2009 movie came out. I remember before I even got into the theater, I heard that they were already signed for the second movie. Like that same
Chris Evans.
Cat in the Engine says that they just started filming the Avengers, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's a moneymaker, even if it's
Oh, I think the Avengers are gonna. Yeah. I just if all of these movies really hit. I mean, that's going to put Marvel Studios in a position to just... It's going to tell the penny pinchers that we can make an ton of money off this kind of...
But even if they don't hit all the way, I mean, you can't discount like DVD sales, Blu-ray sales. Like they make their money up, even if they're a failure here. Go worldwide to make money.
Think about this.
There's no way this is not making us money back.
Captain America is great, which it looks like it's going to be. If the Avengers movie is incredible, but Thor is a stinker, then when you go see the Avengers and Thor comes on the screen, you're going
well, they'll probably rewrite
thinking.
They'll probably just do some rewrite, and just like make his parts smaller or something. It's easy fix.
I think J-Man, what you just touched on there is exact. I'm not worried about this movie being I'm worried about this movie being the bad movie out of the bunch. That's because
doesn't there kind of have to be? Kind of.
I would be such a happy fanboy if Marvel Studios could pull it off and they were all awesome.
Now, if it is awesome, if Thor is awesome, does that mean that the Edward Norton Hulk is the bad of the bunch?
I didn't really mind that one.
I didn't mind that. I actually liked that one.
I'm just wondering where the bottom line is right now.
Amazing.
Who did the Logan movie? The new Wolverine.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad.
Was that Marvel Studios?
Yeah,
I'll just blame that on Brett Ratner. I don't know who actually did it.
Let's stick with that.
If chat room, if you happen to know what studio was behind that,
Wolverine Origins.
Yeah, that was
if
bad.
That was Marvel. I'd say that was probably their misstep.
But that's not part of the Avengers franchise.
Right. But I was just trying to think of it from the terms of the studio.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a sequel to that coming already, right? I think it's already started filming.
Not supposed to be too related though, because if they do that to Deadpool.
So it was a
Fox.
Chat room says bad studio. Yeah, okay. I didn't think it was Marvel. It's right.
Fox. I thought somebody else. Okay, the chat room has just confirmed Fox owns the XMen and then by proxy Wolverine. So.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about X-Men First Class, dude? Not the new Wolverine movie, but X-Men First Class.
No,
because that's also being worked on.
Yeah, but I think that's back in Marvel's
close already.
Yeah.
And those previews look incredible too. If you guys haven't checked those,
I haven't checked those out too much. I was a little bit iffy just because I did not like X-Men 3.
Now, another interesting note, I don't have it in my show notes anymore, but Thor and the X-Men First Class are written by the same people as well. And it's rumored that they're going to continue working on future Marvel projects.
So Marvel at least is happy with them.
Yeah.
So far, we'll see what happens.
I guess we'll find out. The proof will be in the pudding after this weekend, right, dude?
There we go.
I get to find out tomorrow.
Okay.
Suit up.
Now, just a couple of quick network programming notes before we wrap Jupiter at Night up for the week. Saturday, Stoked will be live with a brand new episode. We'll be playing the weekly rerun because there's a new reward for that. So it's same old mission with a new reward, and it actually looks like it's pretty cool. We'll be doing that live at jblive.tv at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that's our show all about Star Trek Online, so check that out. And then Sunday, it's Mother's Day, so Lass is taking the live day off, but we've already pre-taped an interview episode, and that'll be out Sunday evening.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. I think that's just about everything we have to talk about.
Perfect. Next week.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, come back on Tuesday, okay?
All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much for watching the whole week of Jupiter at Night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.